We've had over 7 inches of rain in the last few days. We have water running everywhere, coming down off the mountain. It all collects down here in these low spots. It was too much for this water bar. It was washing over this, running down the road. I got that patched up, got a little bit more leaking over here. Instead of running over there where it's supposed to, it's coming over here, running down the road. The soil in this particular spot's pretty stable. I'm not too worried about it, but it's good to not have water running down the roads. There, now the water will go that way instead of going that way. We had moderate to heavy rain all night, 2 inches overnight on already saturated soil. This is a lot of water for this seasonal gully that doesn't run most of the year. Let's go see what the big creek looks like. That's a lot of water for this little stream. I've made some videos recently about building and maintaining water bars. Let's see how they fared after the storm. This one's looking good, doing what it's supposed to. The rain stopped this morning. It looks like it's going to give us a break for at least a day or two. This one held up. The one down there held up. So far, these are looking good. A couple big potholes here. I need to bring in some rock and fill those up. But then there's this spot. This gully drains a lot of water off the hill. It really needs to have a culvert right here. It used to just run over the road and it wasn't a problem. Now I've got ruts dug in the road and it's going down the road. But it's not really doing any harm to the road. It's pretty stable here, so it hasn't been a big priority. Haven't got to it yet. The water is just running down it clean on top of this rock. Because it's so clean, that means there's not much erosion taking place. Drains down into these big puddles. I need to crown and ditch this to get rid of this situation. Then it drains off the road here, goes down into another gully and goes on its way. Dig this out a little bit to help it drain off faster. I say that to come up with a reason for why I'm doing this. I'm trying to make it sound like I'm accomplishing something, which I'm really not. I'm just playing in the water. That's all we're doing here. We're just playing in the water. It's not every day we have this much water running all over the place. Might as well take advantage of the situation while it's here. There's the real creek down there. So far, except for the one water bar we started the video on, they are all doing what they're supposed to. The key to that is to maintain them before the big rains hit. Most of the water is going where and doing what it's supposed to, which is a little unfortunate. because now I don't have opportunities to play in the water. Now I just have to make stuff up, like instead of having the water go that way, let's make it go this way. There, that ought to hold it. Now the water's going that way instead of that way. Much better. When I take a look at the water down in the low spots, I can see how clear it is. Most of this fresh runoff water is really clean. Just by seeing how clear the water is down in the lowlands, I can tell there isn't anything going bad up in the highlands. If there were big erosion problems up above, this water would be really muddy. But everything we've looked at so far is pretty clear. Since the water's running so clean down here in the lowlands, that's a good indication we don't need to go walking around up in the highlands to go take care of any problems. The main creek's going to have more color to it because it has far more water in it and far more everything in it. It's good to see all this water. I talk a lot about how hot and dry it gets here in the summer. In the winter, it's the opposite. It can get really wet here in the winter. The neighbor a distance down the road, he's been keeping track of the rainfall for the last 40 years. He says on a good year, we can get up to 50 inches of rain. Typically around here, average rainfall would be 35 to 40 inches, but I think this little valley, and so does he, gets more than its fair share of rain. The southwest storms come up this valley, and the orographic lift drains the water out of them. That southwest orientation of this valley tends to drain more moisture out of the wettest storms we have, which come out of that direction, similar to what happens in the Amazon basin. At least that's the way I picture what's going on, but I might just be making things up. After all the drought years we've been having and the excessively hot summers, it's just good to see all this water. Uh-oh, we have a little situation here. Water is leaving the channel and going down there, which is not causing any problem at all, but it gives me an opportunity to play in the water. Well, we didn't stop it, but we slowed it down anyway. I would have thought I would have grown out of the habit I had as a kid to go out in the yard and play in the water after a big rainstorm. Apparently not. Now I just have a bigger yard to play in. What is that white thing up there sitting in the middle of the road? It's right in front of my trail camera. I thought that's what it might be. It's just foam. Bubbles. Trail camera's set up over here. Should check these one of these days. I haven't been real motivated to. After everything we got on them at the ranch this summer, these might be boring here, but we'll check them soon. All this fresh, mostly clean water running everywhere at a time of the year when we don't really need it. If only there was a practical way to store this water up so we could use it in the summer when we really need it. Instead, it's just running away to the ocean, where we already have plenty of water. Over here are the beaver dam analogs we made, was that last year or 2 years ago? I don't remember now. Some viewers have asked for updates on these, but I haven't given any because there hasn't been anything to update. The main idea behind these was to catch sediment that comes down this gully. There's some highly erosive places upstream, but it hasn't really been collecting sediment. The fact that the water is clean enough that we can see the bottom to see there's no sediment building up here is the same reason why there's no sediment building up here. Aside from just a slight cloudiness in this water, there just isn't enough sediment coming down here to accumulate, which is a good thing. Means my erosion control upstream has been working. But it's good to have this here for backup in case someday we do have erosion upstream. If you had hopes that this video was actually going to go somewhere or have a point to it, looks like you might be disappointed. When I started it, I wasn't sure where it was going to go. I thought walking around with all this water running everywhere after the storm, we're bound to find some kind of a drama to make a story out of. But so far, everything's just doing what it's supposed to. How am I going to make a storyline out of everything's just doing what it's supposed to? Looks like this video is going to be a bust. It's just about me playing in the water. What am I even going to title this thing? Watch me play in the water for 10 minutes. Who's going to click on that? Hopefully I don't come up with some real clickbait title. By now you'll probably be really disappointed if I ended up doing that. For the 2 or 3 of you who actually do watch the video, I appreciate that. It's real kind of you. I guess I better cut my losses here. We'll call it the end. I'll put some videos in this end thing here for you to go watch. Hopefully those ones will at least have some kind of a point to them.